Okay, so now that we have the model, how do we use it? How do we make predictions for new observations? So here, suppose we have these 4 new observations. There's only one predictor, remember, in this example. So if these are the incomes, what is our prediction in terms of classification of personal loan? So you set up your L. Okay, so L will be that B sub 0, okay, make sure that that is absolute referenced, plus B sub 1 absolute reference, and then the income. Okay, so that gives us the value of L, the logit function. Okay, and then you do E of negative L, right? And then 1 over 1 plus E to the L. Okay, so that will give you the probability that y is equal to 1. So this is probability target is equal to 1. So that's what this is. Okay. And of course, so if you copy this, and if you have 0.5 as your cutoff point, for the first 3 you will predict 0 for the target. For the last one you will predict 1. Now there is something called odds, and because of the way we set up the probability function, okay, it turns out that there are some relationship between the slope coefficient and odds. Okay, so odds is another way of expressing probability. Okay, they are not the same, they are related. Okay, probability is always a number between 0 and 1, right? It's always 0 and 1. Odds, on the other hand, okay, cannot be negative. You cannot have negative odds. Positive number. Okay, so if you say equally likely, okay, your winning or losing is equally likely, then what are the odds of that? Equally likely, the odds are 1. So it's a ratio, okay, probability of success divided by probability of failure, the opposite. So that's your odds. So if your probability of winning or probability of success goes up, your odds will go up. Okay, so odds. Okay, so this is what odds is. P divided by 1 minus P. So if P is probability, the target is equal to 1. So 1 minus P is the opposite of that. It's not equal to 1. So this is your odds. So if P increases, odds will increase. So if in the case of 50-50, okay, numerator is 50%, denominator is 50%. So odds will be 1. So that is equally likely. Now if your probability of success is 0.75, then you're going to have odds will be what? 0.75 numerator divided by 0.25. So odds will be 3. 3 to 1 odds. Okay. So odds and probability they are not the same, but they are related. Okay. One determines the other. You have the probability, you can compute odds. If you have odds, you can compute probability. If you have odds, then you do odds divided by 1 plus odds will give you the probability. Okay. Now it turns out that there is a relationship between the coefficient and odds. Okay. So now the odds of 1, okay, the odds of 1 is P divided by 1 minus P. So now here the odds are close to 0. Okay. Well, usually odds are expressed as a number greater than 1. So here, if you do 1 over this, then the odds of 0 will be a larger number. Okay. But these are all odds for y equal to 1, target equal to 1. Okay, so we computed these directly from the probability, right? Now you see, when you do exponential of L, okay, e to the power of L, it gives you odds as well. So you can do odds equal to P divided by 1 minus P, and that is also equal to exp of L. Okay, so odds of y equal to 1 is e to the power of L. Okay. But that's all well and good, but there is one more concept which is of interest, and that's called odds ratio. Okay, odds ratio is given by, okay, so what happens when the x value, the predictor increases by 1. So remember, in regression analysis, slope gives you what happens to target when the predictor goes up by 1, right? So it's the same kind of concept. Okay. So you compute odds. Okay, so you can copy paste all of that here. So for income of 100, odds of 1 is this. If income goes up by 1, odds is this. So now we can compute what is called odds ratio. So what this means is that odds of target equal to 1, okay, it increases for each unit of income, it goes up by a factor of 0.964. This is a ratio. Okay. So odds will go up at this rate. Okay, you have to multiply. So if you have the original odds, then you multiply that with the ratio, you get the next one. And that is also given by, okay, now instead of L, odds ratio is given by exp of the slope. Exp, well, what happened here? I think I made a mistake here. It should be F43 divided by F42. Okay, that divided by that. Okay. That's your odds ratio. Odds ratio is exp to the power of slope. So we can now do an interpretation of the slope. Okay. Now interpretation for B sub 1 is that. Odds ratio is exp of that. So now this is for income. right? So income is in $1,000. So when the income goes up from 100 to 101, so that means the income has gone up by $1,000, right? So for each additional $1,000 in income, the odds of accepting the offer for personal loan, that's what personal loan column is. 0 is not accept the offer, 1 is accept the offer. Increases by a factor of 1.0378. So e to the power of L gives you the odds, e to the power of the slope gives you odds ratio. Odds ratio is the rate at which odds will increase for each unit increase in the predictor value.